Tomorrow
Okay.
is going to be buy on guard, get breathe free. But you can get the BOGO box at any time. So that's all the oils you're getting. Oh, let's see, how many oils is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 oils for the price of 4. And what we want to make sure people understand is that, it's better to get your box, because then you don't have to like wait each day and pay the shipping for each time. Although if there is certain days that you want to stock up on, like On Guard and Breathe, then you can just go back in and you can get a limit of, is it limit of 4 or limit of 5 each day?
It's usually 4.
So then you can go back in and you can get 4 more pairs. Oh, it's 5 this year? That's what Tracy said.
Oh, okay.
So if you wanted to get duplicates, you could also do that. So with the Breathe and the On Guard, they shared on the down low kind of like the secret thing. When we went to one of the doTERRA retreats, they said, everybody turn off your phones. Don't record this. They're going to share this very specific information about, something called COVID. And they said that when you use Breathe and On Guard together, it's going to help stop the virus from multiplying in your cells because of eucalyptus. So I thought that was very interesting that they taught. Oh, is it showing? Doesn't have the title on it. The title got moved all the way to the side. All the way to the far, see it on the far corner?
I have a Mac, so it does weird things to your presentation when it converts.
Oh, so I have Mac too.
This?
Yeah.
Did you see that? It just floated.
Thank you for pulling up my silly presentation.
It Mary Poppins in.
But doesn't Mary Poppins make you happy?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so you can go to the next slide with the BOGO box. So see how they have the secret oils inside the box? That's what we revealed today, was the ones that pair with these. And I like to know what's in the box before I buy it. So that's what's nice when it gets leaked. So with the On Guard and Breathe, you're definitely going to want to keep those running in your diffuser when you have people coming over, like for Thanksgiving, like those hot, like when people tend to spread germs. Use the On Guard and Breathe. You can also make hand sanitizers with the On Guard. Just fill your bottle half with rubbing alcohol and the rest with water, and then put like 15 drops of On Guard, and you can make hand sanitizers if you want to like get really crazy on everyone and give everyone one in their hand. Just keep spraying. Just, anyway. And then the Breathe, what I really like doing with is I'll take a drop in my hand and I rub my hands together and you breathe it in. You just put it all over your chest. You can put it on the bottoms of your feet. I also figured out that any kind of menthol sensation oil, if you rub it on your stomach before you exercise, you can access the sensation in your muscles way better. Has anyone else tried this, experienced it? So for me, I have issues with finding certain muscles. Like it's like I'm trying to breathe and I'll find some on the right side, the lower belly, and I won't be able to find the other left one on the left lower belly. But if I add the oil and I do my Pilates breathing with my exercise, I can feel it better. So just saying, you could do that with Breathe if you want. So if you want to do the next slide, you can see like the whole spread of the oils there. So the first two, the On Guard and Breathe, are the ones that we're chatting about. The next day is Cassia and Wild Orange. So there's lots of good suggestions for using these pair. So they both are really great for digestion. So if you end up getting like some like weird, like you ate at a B restaurant, Brazilian steak off a, what is that, kebab thing, like that movie, and you're vomiting and you can't stop. If you put cassia in a capsule, it'll stop the vomiting. Isn't that interesting? I just read that, right?
Yeah.
And then now forget I said vomit, because now we're going to talk about food. So you can use cassia in, I make it at Thanksgiving and Christmas time, a hot wassail. And wassail is like a hot cider. So you do I do cranberry juice and apple juice, both organic, and you mix them together in the crock pot on low. And then I'll put wild orange and cassia and lemon, just like 5 drops of each. And then you just stir it up real good. And when it's really hot, it's just delicious. And it's really good. You know, you're kind of like balancing out the amount of sugar that's in the juice, because the cassia helps to balance the blood sugar. And the citrus oils are really good for digestion and mood lifting. So it's just, you know, it's good. It's a good, nice, hot, non-alcoholic drink to have at your party. Some other things that cassia can be used for are warming circulation in the feet, because it's very cold out in some of the eastern states. And even anybody with circulation issues, you can massage cassia on the bottom of your feet with a carrier oil before you go to bed, or if you're going to be out, you know, in the cold. And that's going to help draw the circulation down through your legs and back up to your heart. And then wild orange. I know that some people, if they've had a long history of acid reflux, or hiatal hernia, where they burp up and they get the burning, that tends to create like a scar tissue in the esophagus. And as people get older, it's harder for them to swallow, and they'll find that they'll get things like actually stuck in their throat. So when you drink wild orange, it helps actually to break down that scar tissue in the throat. And it's very good for cellular health. So if there's any abnormal cells in the scar tissue, which can cause something that starts with a C, then you would be a really good choice to be drinking wild orange on a regular basis to help with the acid reflux and repair the damage done in the esophagus to improve swallowing. So just a little side tip. And then we can go to the next one. And then Dina just did some research on these, so I will pass it to her.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, if you ever felt stressed or been in like a shocked state. I know like sometimes we're in a car accident, or, you know, we're stunned by something or some news that we've gotten. And many of us just kind of feel like this on a regular basis because we've been through so much over the past few years just with this whole like pandemic. So Roman chamomile is really good for helping to calm the overactive stress response that we get in the body. And maybe even sometimes we get that feeling of like hysteria. It's really good for that as well. We've used it successfully for dry, itchy, irritated skin, and then also seasonal threats. And it is one of the oils that I put in my blood pressure support blend, among a few others. So if you've struggled with things like restless sleep or feeling kind of like overexcitement, maybe that wired and tired feel, you go to lay down, but you just can't fall asleep. It's a great oil to kind of add to your diffuser. And actually all 3 that are shown here on the screen are really, really good for helping to relax and get more restful sleep. And I don't know if you've ever felt agitated, irritated, anxious, or angry, sometimes all 4 at the same time. But this is a wonderful oil to diffuse when you feel that kind of coming on, or if you notice that you're experiencing it a lot, then you can put it in the diffuser to kind of cut down on it writhing up on you and kind of taking over. Emotionally balancing, the Roman chamomile is wonderful for helping us move from being very frustrated to being more purposeful. And you can totally place that oil with the others in a diffuser. I like to use my oils on my wrist, like Kim did, deep breathing in. And then you can also put a little bit on the chest as well. As far as black spruce, there's many times where we want to recover from kind of like an overabundance of fatigue. Some say chronic fatigue, or kind of like an overstraining or melancholy type feel. Black spruce is a great way to help calm your nerves, and it helps to promote restful, more energized sleep. So that way, when you wake up in the morning, you're not so like, groggy, tired. You can just kind of like get up and bounce out of bed. It helps to lower inflammatory activity in the body, especially with the joints. So if you have some discomfort associated with your joint areas, elbows, knees, hips, it's a great oil for that as well. You can also use it for respiratory support. So when we have things like seasonal threats, it's a great time to put a little bit on your chest. You can deep breathe it in. You can put it in the diffuser. Emotionally, it helps with insecurity and indecisiveness. I don't know if you've ever met anybody that has a hard time making decisions whatsoever. You might be that person. I don't know. But I live with a couple of them, and some people are just better at, taking risks and jumping than others, and that's okay. But if you do want to exercise your right to be more decisive, it's a great way to kind of do that. Black spruce is also great for hormones, specifically the pituitary gland, thymus and immune system. And then if you do have hyperactive thyroid issues, it's a great oil to help regulate and balance that out for you as well. Most people like to use the black spruce in the diffuser. You can try a couple, like 5 to 6 drops in a warm bath with or without any Epsom salt. About 20-30 minutes in a soak, and it's a great way to make you feel more relaxed and get that powerful aroma going as well. As far as copaiba to me is a mega bonus oil. We use copaiba in our home regularly, and we use it for its calming benefits, and it's great for using it in the place of things like CBD. I like it because it binds the same receptor, but it doesn't have the same negative effects that utilizing CBD may have for some people and might be associated with. So to me, it's a great alternative. I've had people use it for bedwetting, people who struggle with addictive types of behaviors, mostly associated with insufficiency in dopamine. So that's a neurotransmitter that helps to make us feel good. A lot of times we have addictive type tendencies because we're chasing that dopamine that feel good. And this is also a really good oil for liver support. So I know a lot of people use it for aches and discomfort, and that's really what it's mainly known for, especially when they're like serious flare-ups. So things like the feet, we have the plantar thing that happens in the feet. And then we have issues with like spurs and stuff like that. It's a really good oil for those things as well to help support. Now, if you're using it internally, there's some really good gut benefits associated with it. And it's really digestively soothing. So it makes it great for any kind of gut malfunctions that we may have. And it's also wonderful for the majority of any kind of skin issues we may have as well. And it can be used topically, internally, and aromatically. So it can be used all 3 ways. Now, keep in mind, I did not even hit on all the different ways that you can use these 3 oils. They're phenomenal. So I don't know if you have the Modern Essentials book, but it's a great way to kind of look up some of these other oils that Kim and I are talking about and see. But just those 3 together, they kind of overlap. So they have 4 areas that they really overlap in quite a bit. And it's seasonal, discomfort, hormone, and then restful sleep. So you can use all 3.
I feel like it would be a really nice roller.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, I've never put those 3 together before, but I'm like doing the research. I'm like, man, I'm thinking I kind of want to put them in my diffuser tonight and roll them on.
Yeah, I'm going to black out.
Right? We're always snoring.
No, I really like it. It's interesting. I hadn't thought about, I must have read it before I have the Essential Life, I think this is the 7th edition. And it was
Mhm.
talking about copaiba for liver toxicity
Mhm.
and another one for stopping vomiting.
Yeah.
No, I love talking about
Oh,
that.
cool.
Did you want to talk about Northern Escape?
Sure. So Northern Escape is a wonderful oil for decluttering our thought process. We tend to get these like mental traps, so to speak. And so it's a great way to kind of help in those areas as well. And I like to put it in my hands and then take a deep breath. And I'll tell you, Northern Escape, like it's out right now. It is an oil that disappears around this house very fast. So my daughter lives in North Dakota and she'll say, do you have any? Can you ship me some? And I'm like, all right, I have one bottle left. You can have my one bottle, or I'll have to, put some in a vial and send it to her. But and I just kind of want to plug too. So if you take long, slow, deep breaths while utilizing the Northern Escape, it's very, very good mentally. And Kim's done some awesome videos with guest speakers where they really know their craft and talk about how to do deep breathing exercises. And you've got quite a few videos of that as well. So there's so many great oils to exercise those deep breathing exercises with. And I have a friend that's an RN. She gets paid like mega bucks to go around and teach CEOs and CFOs how to breathe and do these breathing techniques. And I'm like, man, you got the life, man. So I don't know if you ever feel like uninspired or unmotivated or agitated, sometimes overstimulated, especially when we have too much like screen time when we're in front of our phone too long or on the computer so long. Northern Escape is a wonderful oil to apply or diffuse at that time. And also it's good for any kind of respiratory issues as well, especially if you live in an area where there's a lot of air pollutants. And it's also great for joints and muscle stiffness as well, soreness. It pairs really, really nicely with the deep blue. So I love that they put them together here. And it's also really good for muscle stiffness and soreness. You can also pair it with the massage blend too, if you have that. So Northern Escape is also good as a perfume, or you can add it to your beard oil for the dudes.
Yeah, I feel like the Northern Escape definitely is that lumberjack man smell.
Yeah, yeah. The
Just
burly man smell. Love it.
I was going to suggest to people to take a few drops in your hand and take some fractionated coconut oil and then start in your feet and massage it up your legs. Because it's going to feel really good on your feet and your joints. And that's a really nice way to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Especially at bedtime. So the deep blue stick, I'll tell you what, this is a lifesaver. So sometimes I'll teach classes at the courthouse for all the lawyers, and I'll tell them this is how you can keep from getting the oils on your dick. Because then you don't have, sorry, I had to throw it in there. So you roll it so that way you don't have to get it on your hands. That's why I'm saying that. Because usually you got the oils and then you got to rub it in, and then what if you go to the bathroom, right? And then they're, they get it on their pecker. So this way you can do it hands free and you can roll it wherever is hurting on the go. Or, it's really great for kids in sports because then they can get it on their knees or whatever when they're sitting on the bench, and it's not going to be on their hand and then they like rub sweat out of their eye, So that's a good choice as well. And it's very handy. And they mixed the copaiba with the deep blue in the stick. The deep blue oil straight itself, I use that a lot on my feet before bed. That's kind of like my go-to. And I'll actually take it in my hands and I'll rub it into my scalp because that feels super good. Just don't get it in your eye. So, and then we can move to, or I think the last one is just the slide that I made. So if people are enrolling for the very first time, obviously they get their enrollment fee waived. And then they get the free Northern Escape. And if they were to enroll on just one of the BOGO days, they could get the MetaPower system, which is like the hot item in doTERRA right now. And then they could get that BOGO of the day. So there's a bunch of different ways that people can utilize getting all the freebies, you know? So yeah, I think this was really fun.
Very
And
cool.
oh, I hadn't really thought about it, but there's several oils that can be used in a spinal treatment too.
Mhm.
So I was kind of thinking about that, like the On Guard and the Breathe, Deep Blue, certainly, Copaiba. This would be like a really great immune boosting, anti-inflammatory, just a damn nice thing to do for someone.
I know. I feel like there's a lot of pain relieving oils in the BOGO this time, which is really cool.
Yeah, so I'm really happy that I know what's in the box so that I can
Me
utilize it
too.
and then share. Here is the book here. If you wanted to see what it looked like, there is an app for this. So if you just look up the Essential Life and it has a little green leaf, it's like $5 for the app. And then that way you can just look it up. And it's a lot cheaper than buying a big, thick textbook. Also, the other resource is the Essential Emotions Spiral Bound. This tells you all of the ways to use the oils as a self-care and connection with the plants. You're welcome, Tracy. And then you can also just get the app on your phone too, if you don't want to have the book shipped and pay. Because I think it's like the app, I think is less than, I forget what it is. I think it's $14. So, but it's nice to have both of those resources with understanding how to use your stuff. So thank you guys for coming, and Dina, thanks for being here and
Anytime.
supporting me, us, all of us. Thanks for coming
Always.
on. Thanks, Elizabeth. Did you guys have any questions before we go off?
No.
Well, let me stop recording real quick.